What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Stella Herself podcast. Thank you so much to everyone for listening, and don't forget to tweet me or IG story me, tag me in your IG story, a screenshot of you listening or watching. Also, thank you to people who said, hey, we want to see the video the whole way through, because you know what? I'm going to do it. We have a cold brew today. This is my second coffee of the day. I don't really feel like I need it, but I just feel like when I'm talking, I like to have a beverage, and sometimes just water can be a little boring. Low-key, I tweeted this, but I know it's the internalized capitalism, but I love being busy. This has been a busy-ass week. I feel like I actually have, projects, just working with brands and whatnot, and stuff that, things that have a due date. And it's Bidney's birthday on Saturday, but I feel like the festivities really start tomorrow. So that's kind of another due date. I want to get stuff done before then, and then, do stuff for her birthday. So I have some stuff to do. So yeah, I don't know. I just love the feeling of being busy. And also, can I just have a moment of pride? I'm so proud of myself for vlogging and just posting so consistently. I think I said this in the last podcast or maybe in my last vlog, but I feel like I've said this a lot over this past month or so, but I feel like I finally refound my passion for making videos, and I just feel very in the flow. And if y'all know about I guess abundance, or just manifestation, or just feeling good, that flow feeling is the goal of everything. Being in the flow of your life, and it just feels so good. It doesn't feel like a struggle or hard, or there's resistance there. It just feels good. And I honestly can't really tell you why. I guess I just kind of started doing things differently. I feel I don't know. It happened very gradually. But it feels good to feel that sense of purpose and connect with you guys. And yeah, it's just a really good feeling. So I'm really grateful for that, and it's just been a really great week, honestly. I'm gonna talk about this in my vlog that I'm filming this week, so it'll be up next week, but I'm kind of shocked because it's supposed to be my PMS week, but I feel just really good. So that's just great for me. I love that. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. What do you guys do to feel good in your life, daily? This is I think the only thing I ever say, but yoga and meditation helps so much, y'all, so much. And especially when you don't feel like doing it and then you do it, that's when it's the most beneficial. So it can be hard because it's you do have to do the force yourself method, but I feel that really helps. And I feel also just, I don't know, just having a good balance of everything. I really think finding a purpose, it's not just about being busy, it's about feeling a purpose, or just feeling a good feeling. Not necessarily a productivity feeling, or a purpose when it comes to your career or something, but sometimes that sense of purpose, or just connection, there's connection to your work, or connection to a hobby, just something you're really passionate about, but then there's also connection to your friends, your family, people in your life, or doing something like that. You can hang out with your friends and time can fly. You can be in that flow and feel amazing. And it wasn't necessarily productive in terms of I don't know, your career or whatnot, but you still have that feeling. So yeah, it's just it feels good. I'm just trying to really enjoy it because, it's not I'm going to feel this way forever. Obviously we all have times where we feel unsure, or just very down, I think especially this year, I have to remind myself at points when I do feel overwhelmed or stressed, hey, it's kind of a pandemic. And not to say you can blame all your problems on that, your personal problems, but I think just, when you're feeling overwhelmed, just taking a step back, asking yourself why. I just feel this whole year, but I think especially this past month, especially these past couple weeks, I've just felt very human, in the sense of like I've been thinking about how just, I guess, like humanity and how everyone feels. I mean, I guess everyone, it's like people who don't have emotions apparently, but like I'm just gonna say everyone has like emotions. And I guess just thinking about like philosophers or like just old books like Shakespeare that we had to read in school or whatever, and just like how there's all these reoccurring themes. And I feel like in high school or whatever I didn't really care, but now it's like I'm thinking about it, just like people really be human, like just going through the same kind of experiences and experiencing the same kind of emotions, and like all kinds of emotions and ups and downs. And I just feel like I've really been thinking about that a lot recently and like connecting to it. And I guess I want to say being emotional, but like not necessarily in a bad way, just kind of observing my emotions. And like it feels good. Like it feels like I'm able to take a step back and just like observe. And I don't know, it just feels, let me know if you can relate. Have you ever like thought about that? Just like a lot of the books that we had to read in school, it's like it makes sense now, like these themes. And just like sometimes I think about stuff like posters they'd have in school, like believe in yourself or like blah blah, and it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. But then it's like when you're doubting yourself, it's like this is what they were talking about. Like I do have to believe in myself in this moment. This is kind of a lot of ideas in one, but I hope you can like relate in some way. It's like kind of random, but I kind of had that realization today. Like I feel like I've just felt very human, and not necessarily in a good way, not necessarily in a bad way, but just like it is what it is. We really just be going through shit. And like I think also like this is, I mean, it's kind of related, but like thinking of past events and how like people did that. It's like, whoa. I feel like as a kid, it's like you don't really have like context of like what it means to be a person, and like this is real life. But then now I feel like it's like, okay, wow, this is really real life. And like all these past things that happened, it's like that was real life. Allegedly. It's like a lot of different thoughts, different random, just little bits and pieces of things that I have been thinking about. But let me know if you can relate to any of that. I don't know if that's even like, I don't know, but let me know. I honestly feel like it's just been a week, because y'all know I do these podcasts weekly, but I feel like it's just been a week of a lot of like personal reflection. And I feel like honestly this whole year, y'all, a lot of personal reflection and just like thinking about why I am the way that I am, and my strengths and my weaknesses and where it comes from, and like just tracing it back and like working on it, and like being uncomfortable in situations because I just want to like, it's like growth. I've talked to you guys about this before, but I'm a very cautious person, and I've literally always been like that, like both in the sense of like, being adventurous. Like I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to go skydiving. I don't want to go on a roller coaster. I don't want to do anything that's going to make me feel like scared. But then also just like, I don't know, I feel like in relationships or like, when it comes to confrontation or stuff, I'm always like very cautious. And it's just something like in all ways that I want to work on, because I feel like, as I've talked about in this podcast, the only way that you are going to be able to like grow and like have new experiences and new memes and new antics is like by doing stuff first off, but also getting out of your comfort zone. So it's something that I'm very aware of in myself, and something that I'm always trying to like work on. So I feel like this whole year, I mean, honestly, like the past few years, kind of since just becoming an adult, becoming more like self-aware in society and like, in society, but just like becoming an adult. And I just feel like it's kind of been a week. So my point in saying all this is that it's kind of just been a week of a lot of that. And it was yesterday, I was kind of like, fuck, I need to record tomorrow. And I honestly feel like I just don't really have that much prepared or that much to talk about, because I don't know, I feel like sometimes I'll have an idea, like, like a topic or like something comes to mind, and it's like, that's what I'm going to talk about. And sometimes, like, I feel like this week was just a lot of, like, personal reflection. And, like, it's not, I don't know, you know? So, point being, I asked you guys to ask me or just give me topics and stuff you wanted to hear my insight on. So that's what we're going to do today, bitch. Also, can I just say, trust this computer? Yeah, I guess, whatever. It's finally, like, sunny outside, which if you've been following the news or anything, there's been all these fires. It's been crazy. Literally since, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, smoke in the air. And this is the first week, the first couple, like, last couple days where it's been, like, a little bit of blue sky and you can finally, like there's sunlight. It's not just dark. But today I woke up and it smelled like smoke a lot. I was kind of like, bitch, kind of scary. Okay. So let's just see. But also, yeah, just thank you guys so much for, like, watching my videos and watching my vlogs, listening to these podcasts, posting them. It's just so cool. I love when people get it. And I just feel like a lot of my vlogs, especially a lot of my videos, but a lot of my vlogs are just kind of like I said before, if you know, you know, it's like, it's almost like we all have these inside jokes. And so when I read the comments and you guys, like, really understand and get it, it's just cool to, like, connect in that way. It just makes me feel good and, like, motivated to do more. So thank you guys. And thank you guys for, like, asking me or, like, submitting topics. Okay. Oh, actually, I was kind of thinking about this, and I feel like this might turn into a little bit of a rant, but I'm not sure. Someone said, thoughts on Keeping Up with the Kardashians ending and just your thoughts on celebrities in general. Okay, so I have talked about this before, I know, and I think I even titled a podcast, like, The End of Celebrity Culture or something. So some of these thoughts may be redundant to what I already spoke on, but dude, it's just like, I feel like with them especially, but really, like, any celebrity or, like, influencer who doesn't really use their platform, like, for the greater good, it's like, like, to me, it's just like, how do you not feel, like, awkward or, like, weird or just like, fuck, maybe this isn't a good idea, like, in the sense of constantly flexing your outrageous lifestyle and, like, perpetuating this idea that, you know, more is better and we need just to, like, hoard wealth and resources and, like, yeah, this is my 8th car and I'm gonna flex it on Instagram and I want people to see this and, like, be jealous of me, and I know people, that's how people are going to react. I know that I'm, like, have so much more wealth than so many people in this world, and I'm still going to flex it, and, like, that's just weird to me, because I feel like I don't want to flex shit, because I think it's, first of all, it's just, like, it's tacky, and it's just, like, bro, literally, especially these days, it's a pandemic, and, like, the government is just, I mean, it's always been fucked up, but I feel like it's, like, really, just a lot of things are coming to light and, like, the surface, and I feel like sometimes before it would be kind of like, oh, conspiracy theory, like, shit was, like, just moving along, like, everything was kind of just, like, yeah, and now just, like, especially with social media and the fact that so many people can share their voices, I just feel like a lot of stuff is being exposed. So it's just like, how, it's like, it's tone deaf, it's tacky, like, it's just weird. It's like, yeah. Because I guess I think about it in the sense of, like, okay, well, I am kind of like an influencer and I post pics and I vlog my life and stuff. And I guess you could kind of make the same argument that I do that at times. But it's kind of like a different level, you know, when you're, like, allegedly a billionaire, whatever, and it's, like, lying about that. Like, it's just, like, this is just exactly what's, like, wrong with our world. And you can break this up into, like, so many different, like, I don't know, there's just so many ways you could look at this. You can look at it, like, from a more spiritual perspective, like, your ego or their egos are just, like, ruling everything, and they just want more power and more money, and, like, fuck everyone else. Like, yeah, I'm gonna give back because it looks good for publicity, but, like, at the end of the day, if you really cared about people and communities, like, you wouldn't be doing this at all. It's just really about, like, you just want to look the best, be the best, have the most money, have the most cars, have the newest shit. It's like, when is it enough? And I know some people, like the people that like to defend billionaires on like Twitter, like, well, they worked for that. It's like, did they? People be like, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And it's like, no, because if you're rich, you can like buy more time. Like, you have people doing shit for you. Like, we don't all have the same amount of time in a day. Like, people need to work. People have kids. Like, people need to go to school. So like, there's that, like, just the ego, and like, you have to think about the collective consciousness and just like, what are you really contributing? And I think that's why I sometimes have a hard time like really putting my all into like, I don't know, like being an IG model or like just like being an influencer, because it's like, I kind of disagree with a lot of ways in which it's done, because it's like, okay, I want to be able to contribute something of value and meaning, and not just like, I just want to be pretty and I just want to like flex my life and like my money. It's like, that's kind of useless. Like, you're useless. And I feel like that realization for me really just took away a lot of the like awe or like putting these people on pedestals, because it's like, you're human just like the rest of us, and you're acting like this, and just because you were born into this life, or like, you know, however, got this amount of money, whatever, you just like, you're just living that way, but it's like, you're still human and you're still making these choices that aren't really benefiting anyone except yourself. And it just goes back to like how, especially I feel like in the United States, we really put individualism over community and over like the greater good or the greater consciousness. You know, it's just like, at what point is it enough? And it's also just a good lesson like for yourself, or like for myself. Like, I feel like because I've kind of been interested in like, I guess, spirituality and that kind of stuff from a young age. It's kind of like how I was brought up, but you know, I was reading the books in high school, whatever. But just like money, I do think money can buy happiness to an extent, but when it gets to the point where like you need to buy a new luxury car like every fucking month, it seems, it's like, when does that become enough? And you know, when I really started learning about manifestation and the law of attraction and whatnot, it's like, yeah, it's like, we're not chasing the physical thing, we're chasing the feeling. So if you can just go right to the feeling. And I've kind of talked about how I don't really like to talk about like the law of attraction or manifestation as much as like I did in 2016 or like I have before, because I feel like it can come off as very just privileged and like, well, I just like thought my way to this. And it's like, okay, well, you're not really, like, if someone who wasn't born into the same circumstances that I was watches this, you know, it just seems kind of like rude, honestly. Like, oh, you're telling me I can just think my way into, you know, systemic racism not existing, you know, like, so I kind of don't really talk about that because I just feel like it can come off as like, you're like a dumb bitch. But I do think that there's a universal truth in like a lot of the times when we want something, we want a person, we want a relationship, we want a certain like dream home or whatever, a lot of it is like a feeling. You know, the feeling of being enough, the feeling of being loved, of being validated, of being safe, of being like at home. And, you know, I feel like if as a society there was just like less consumerism and less capitalism and we were just able to like vibe. But like if we were taught to go inwards and like, I don't know, I feel like if more people knew like how powerful our minds really are, it'd be like, oh, you know, live in the moment. Everything's like connected. Anyway, what was the question? End of celebrity culture? Yeah. And again, I kind of made a podcast about this where I was talking about like just how social media makes celebrities a lot more, I guess, first relatable, but also more human. Like, they make mistakes too. They like, it's more transparent, because I feel like for so long, you know, before social media, before like you could literally DM a celebrity personally, it's like you would only see them in movies, on TV shows, like on TV, in magazines, and it's just, you know, it's Hollywood, it's fake, it's not real. You know, it's like a portrayal of their external persona and not like who they are. And obviously that still exists on social media, but it's like, okay, a celebrity will reply to a comment and like be a bitch, and it's like you wouldn't have necessarily seen that before. So I just feel like a lot of just regular people are realizing like taking them off the pedestal, like you're just human, like why are you like living like this and acting like this and thinking you're above everyone else. And I do fuck with that, I really do. As far as their show ending, I literally don't care who was still watching that. Like, it was boring. And I remember, like, when Kylie was coming out with her show, it was like, oh, like, maybe this will be tea, but it just, like, wasn't. Like, they're just really boring to me. Who has, like, the real tea, you know? Just, like, I don't know, I feel like especially, like, these days, because of the pandemic, just, like, so much stuff is low-key kind of boring. IG's boring these days. I do like stories, but even stories, like I only watch the first few that come up, and otherwise it's like I don't care. Like I'm not gonna scroll and watch everyone's stories. Do you guys? And I feel like that's like kind of a bad thing about the algorithm, but also kind of good because like now I only watch like my best friend's stories. I don't know. Just like I wonder what will be next. I guess it's kind of like TikTok, but like it's gonna be a new IG. Like IG kind of fell off. Like no, like I know they didn't, but like they did. Like it just does not have the same feeling. Like I literally just don't care anymore. I do like stories though. I love an IG story like so much. I put monk fruit sweetener in this. I kind of put too much. Some ASMR. Someone just says voting. So the thing is, like I always kind of think of that Simpsons episode where the aliens are like running for president, or like they're like disguised as people, like, but it's the aliens running for president, and it's like no matter who you vote for, you're still voting for the same thing at the end of the day. Like it's just two different, like, you know, doors into one room. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people just are like, vote, you need to vote, just vote, vote, vote. And you're not really taking into consideration, like, people's ability to vote and, like, how easy it is for them to, the accessibility of it, and how, you know, the government really makes it difficult for especially, like, lower income areas, or, you know, areas where there are a lot of minorities. Like, the voting lines will be so long, they just make it, like, so hard, or, like there's that. And just yelling at people to vote, it's like you're not looking at the whole issue. That's kind of like what I've observed. If you can vote, I guess do it, because like I guess one scam is better than the other. I don't know. I just, like, I've seen the post where it's like, okay, voting for this person, it's like at least it's better than the other person winning, and then we can, like, you know, move towards a better society as a whole. But then it's kind of like, okay, it's literally like, do you want to vote for this rapist or this rapist? It's like, America had gotta go. Like, wasn't I talking about that at, like, I think around 4th of July? But the fact that America is only however many years old, it's like, low-key, that's not a lot. And low-key, that makes sense, because why is the USA built like this? It's like, I saw a TikTok where this girl was like, people are asking me what my long-term plans are, and it's like, first of all, it's a pandemic. First of all, this fucking election. Like, you think I'm really thinking about that right now? And I was like, dead ass, dude. Like, the West Coast is on fire, and you're expecting me to, like, think about, like, when do I want to have kids? Like, also, this is, I don't know, this isn't really related, but isn't it weird how, like, there'll be people with millions of followers that you've never heard of before? Like, I was watching a Philip DeFranco this morning, and he was talking about these, like, YouTubers that have millions and millions of subscribers, and I was like, I've literally never seen them before, never heard of them, like, don't recognize them. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, I guess it just reminded me, like, because sometimes it's just like, how do people not get it? And I guess this is related because it's like, we really, like, are in our bubbles, and, you know, we usually have friends, and, like, the people around us have similar beliefs as us and viewpoints, and I don't know, it's just kind of easy to think, like, you know, everyone thinks like this, and if you don't, like, that's weird. but like everyone has a bubble. People have literally the exact opposite views as you, but they think that's normal. It's just like, whoa. Yeah, how can someone have millions and millions of subscribers or followers and it's just like, I don't know them, like. Anyway, random, like, weird. So yeah, what do you guys think about voting? Like, I'm not gonna be like annoying. Like, go vote if you don't vote. Like, maybe the fires wouldn't be happening if you voted. It's like, how are you gonna blame that on people, on the general population, when there's fucking corporations that are just exploiting the earth and its resources and people, and you're just gonna yell at people to vote and not make it really easy for them to vote and not make their options beneficial towards them and their communities? Like, it's like, you really need to look at the big picture. Anyway, young nudie, fuck. Talk about how you spent your quarantine. Watch the vlogs, y'all. But for the first few months, I really was not leaving my house at all. Then I was kind of like, this is kind of a long-term thing. This isn't just, it'll be better by summer. So then, I kind of extended my bubble. I have my bubble of people that I like see and hang out with. And, I have been able to have still a lit summer. Luckily, Bidney has a pool that's like private, so was able to go in that. Otherwise, we just do a lot of like taking food to go, getting coffee. I want to say I've been hiking, but not really at all. Just like, it's been too hot, to be honest. Maybe like now going into the colder months. Yeah, I went back home a couple times. And yeah, just making videos, to be honest. How have y'all been spending your quarantine? But it's kind of like, okay. Like, I really was not seeing any of my friends. Like, Bidney was like, please just come over. Like, we haven't gone anywhere. I was like, no, I'm not going to leave my house. And then, like, another month went by. It's like, okay. This is, like, going to be the next couple of years, to be honest. I need somewhat of a life, We need to make long-term adaptations. Someone says, talk about capitalism and how it makes everyone feel guilty for relaxing. Bitch, literally. Like, I feel like I have talked about this a lot, but it's so true. Like, you'll literally just be chilling. It'll be like a rest day, a chill day, and it's like, what? The grind never stops. Like, wait. Personally, I just try to remind myself, like, it's like, if there's something that I actually have to do, then it's like, okay, let me just do this. But if I just feel this, like, kind of empty feeling of, like, I need to be productive, I just honestly tell that voice in my head to shut the fuck up. And I just try to, like, do something fun, because there's a difference, for me at least, between, like, I don't know, sometimes it's nice to, like, be at home and do nothing and just, like, watch TV or watch TikToks or whatever. But sometimes, like, that can feel kind of boring, and, like, that's when those intrusive capitalist thoughts get in my head. So I'll either, like, make plans with a friend, or like try to do something in my house that's not necessarily productive, but that's like I'm doing something, whether it's like painting or like, I don't know, what are people's hobbies, like doing my makeup or just like bullshitting. And then going back to the flow feeling, you get in the flow of something, whether it's having an antic with your friends or making art or like even cleaning, or just like you're doing something but it's not necessarily productive. I guess that's what hobbies are for. But then I just feel like that wasn't time wasted, because again, don't get me wrong, it can be so nice and needed to like actually do nothing, like actually just waste time, get your screen time up, like literally lay in your bed all day and do nothing. But sometimes it's like I just kind of want to do something, but it doesn't have to be productive. So yeah, because then it's like I'm making a memory, or I'm making an art, like it's fulfilling me in some way. I feel like a lot of the productivity feeling comes from like boredom, at least for me, because when I actually have something to do, I'm going to do it. But it's like that empty space either in between tasks or like at the end of the day, or like I don't really have anything planned today, so what do I do? Like, I need to be productive. That's just kind of like the instinct. But then it's like I can actually fill this time with something that's still meaningful and still going to give me purpose, but that's not necessarily about like making money or like
my career or anything like that. So I hope that makes sense. But what do you guys do when you feel that like productivity feeling? Like, I need to be productive. If I'm not being productive, I'm going to die. Like, let me know. I wanted to talk about this because I saw this TikTok today. This lady was like, you need to stop playing games in your relationships, because I feel like so much dating advice, like this is me talking, but so much dating advice is like, wait to text them back, or like, don't hit them up after this many days or whatever. And this lady in this TikTok was like, that is coming from a place of fear. Like, you know, waiting for someone to text you or waiting to text someone back. It's like, we know that we all have our phones on us pretty much all the time. Like, yeah, sometimes you're actually busy doing something, or like you just are busy like mentally, you just don't have the capacity to like to text them back, whatever. But when you're like, let me wait, it's like you have this fear that like you're gonna come off too strong, too thirsty, like, oh, I'm gonna scare them away. But it's still coming from a place from fear. So she said, in order to create authentic relationships that actually last, your decisions and your actions have to come from a place of love. And like, okay, like, how would I want to be treated? Like compassion and caring about someone. And I just feel like, because I learned at such a young age, like, you know, I mean, since like I started, I guess, talking to boys or whatever, I want to say dating, but like, is it really dating when you're like 14, 15? I don't know. But I would just always learn, like, don't be too clingy, don't. And we talked about this in the last podcast, like being a chill girl. Like, I need to be chill. I need to not show that I care. And at least for me, like, I just always, like, I have that ingrained in my mind. So I feel like now it's actually kind of like not benefiting me, because it's then hard to, like, if I want something real or I meet someone who is cool, it's like I still have all these walls up, and like I just don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to like show you that I care about you. Which sounds fucked up, but it's like, it kind of makes sense when so much of our dating advice is like, be the chill girl, don't be thirsty, don't be emotional, don't do this. It's like, hey, like, if someone actually cares about me and values me as a person and wants me in their life, they're going to respond positively to me showing interest, and not me being thirsty or coming off too strong or being too much, but just me showing genuine care and like an interest. And obviously there's like, I feel like different ranges to that. Like, if you first meet someone, and even like with friendships, like if I first meet someone and we're friends, I'm not going to text you, let's say, like 20 times in a row like I would someone who's my best friend, and I know that like it's like whatever, you know, there's different like levels. But that's, I think at the bottom, like the bottom line is those early conversations or actions, or just like even your thoughts, like they can still come from a place of love and compassion and like vulnerability and openness, and not fear and playing games and like, I don't want to get played. I feel like everyone has like some kind of, whether it's multiple or like one specific example of like, you were talking to someone, you opened up and they hurt you, and now you just never want to do it again. But it's like, okay, especially if that happened a long time ago, like in high school, or even just maybe it was last year or whatever. It's like, okay, we've grown since then, we've learned since then. And I just feel like I have to remind myself constantly, like, if someone is worth my time, they are going to respond positively to this. Like, they're going to get it, because they're going to be my kind of person. And if they don't, then you just know. And I feel like that is just so true with setting boundaries, sticking up for yourself, like anything. Like, it's always worth the risk, because either they're going to blow you off or be like, ew, or just ghost you. And then you know, and it's like, okay, now I can move on, not waste any more time. Don't waste time being the chill girl. Oh my God. It's like me at me, but like me at y'all too. And then also, like, if they're like, okay, yeah, then it's like, oh, great. It's like a win-win. And I have talked about that before. I think I repeat myself all the time, but it's because I need these reminders, y'all. Like, this is my therapy session. But yeah, I just thought that was just so well said. Like, come from a place of love, not a place of fear. And I know I've heard that before in different like ways, but bitch, TikTok really be knowing what you need to hear, you know? All right, so that's all I'm gonna answer today. Honestly, I needed to go journal or something. Like, it's been a long week. But let me know what you guys want me to talk about in the next episode. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you screenshot and tweet it to me, or
post it on your IG story and tag me so I can retweet, repost. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support, and I'll see you guys next week.